Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. It's been a while. This week we are renovating our garden. We've done a little bit of the aeration already a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, so the plan today is to scarify and possibly even get as far as overseeding the lawn. It's now the start of April here in Northern Ireland, so the temperatures are starting to get warm enough that I'm going to take a chance and start to put down some fresh grass seed. We'll take you along with us.
First though, trip to the garden centre, which is my favourite thing to do.
Yeah, so we're going to go to the garden centre, pick up a few supplies, get some topsoil and compost.
Short trip guys, James got his soil.
I bought like a really fine mix of compost. It was quite expensive, to be honest. It was like £28 for 4 bags. So hopefully that'll do our whole gardens, both the front and the back.
Not so bad, yeah. I just got a ranunculus. It's really the name. But I'm thinking to keep it indoor at the window because it says you can grow them, but that the temperature has to be like 16 degrees, which is not the temperature of our home.
It's going to be too warm, so.
Too warm for it.
Well, our indoor plants never normally survive too long.
Yeah, I've killed a lot of plants.
Anyhow, we're off to B&M Bargains now to get a few other things. We need to get some spray for green flies because our rose bushes are absolutely covered in green flies already.
A few moments later.
Here we go guys. These are semi-famous I hear. It's kind of like a Kinder Bueno, but inside it's got pistachio cream.
Pistachio cream. I don't know if I'm going to like it. So our gardening videos turned into food reviews now. Ramona saw someone else on YouTube eat these recently.
Fabinel. There's barely any cream in them.
Just tastes like chocolate. Well, it can taste a bit of cream, but it tastes the exact same as a Kinder Bueno to me.
Yeah,
doesn't taste like pistachio flavour or anything.
I don't think I taste pistachio.
It's supposed to be pistachio, that's the whole idea. Anyhow, yeah, food review over. We went to B&M Bargains there. We got this and we got some gardening stuff, so we didn't bother filming it. So we're going to go home now and get started with
Try not to bore you guys.
Yeah, get started with the real tasks now. So this is the garden at the moment. On the camera it probably looks pretty good, but when you get up close you can see lots of patchy areas. Like here's meadow grass here, for example. Here's bits that I sprayed, for example. You can see the difference in this grass here. It's long and it grows out through the other grass. So the lawn's quite long. We need to get it cut down to as short as possible because when we put the seed and everything down and top dress it, we're going to have to leave the lawn for several weeks till the new seed establishes enough to be walked on or to be mowed. So that means I have to try and cut the lawn as short as possible. Now my mower doesn't actually go overly low, which is annoying, and it's quite a rigmarole just to try and change the heights on this lawnmower. You have to actually adjust each wheel individually, which is really irritating. Some people scalp the lawn, which is basically cutting it right to the ground. I would prefer to do that if I could, but as I said, my mower doesn't go that low, and I'm not going to buy a new lawnmower just for the sake of taking an extra few centimeters or millimeters off the lawn. So guys, now we have the grass cut, as you'll have seen, and it's nice and short. It actually doesn't look that bad now that it's cut, but I've committed to it, so we're in too deep at the moment, so we're just going to continue on. Now on camera it'll always look a bit thicker than what it is, but there is lots of dead empty spaces where the meadow grass has taken over the winter. We'll get stuck in now to the scarifying, so that's all the cutting done. But we've got the back all mowed now and just need to start scarifying, so that's the next step, is scarification. So as you can see, I've started scarifying the garden. I'm just using a little cheap electric scarifier that I bought from Amazon last year, and it does a great job. Basically all it has to do is it has a set of blades inside it that cut vertically down into the lawn and help to basically cut up all the thatch and moss, so dead grass, moss, weeds, whatever has fell down onto the surface of the ground throughout the winter time. And then basically it mulches it all up and brings it to the surface. Now that the scarifier has brought all the thatch, dead grass, moss, weeds to the surface, the last thing you need to do is rake it all into a bundle ready to be collected and taken off the top of the lawn. Well, this is all the thatch we managed to gather up out of the lawn. It doesn't look like much there, but quite a lot of dead material has come out of the grass. I only did one pass, normally I do two, but I'm not going to go too harsh on the grass this year, so get this all into the brown bin. This next step isn't strictly necessary, it's just when I raked the garden I saw a lot of meadow grass started to stand up again, so I decided to give it a quick mow. So the next step is we're going to put down some fertiliser, and then after the fertiliser our seed. So this is just to give the lawn a bit of a kickstart whenever the new seeds start to germinate. So I have to put down almost 1.5 kilograms of fertiliser on this back garden, and then the rest is going to go on the front. So this goes in our spreader. So for putting the fertiliser down I used this Miracle Grow spreader. It's not the most accurate spreader, but it does the job. As you can see, I try to go around in an even pattern as much as possible, but I always end up with some left over, so I just pass over the lawn in my best judgment and try and spread it as evenly as possible. So now we're going on with the grass seed. This goes down in a similar fashion to the fertiliser. This year we decided to try a new grass seed with hopefully some harder wearing grass that might last a bit better through the winter, as our lawn thinned out over the winter again this year, so it's worth a try. We'll see how it goes in 6 weeks time. Now that the grass seed and fertiliser are both down, I'm just working it into the ground using the lawn levelling lute to try and get the best seed to soil contact I can. Okay everyone, this is the final step to the overseeding process. You'll have saw us cut the lawn, scarify, then we raked up all the dead grass and moss, then we went over with some fertiliser, some grass seed, and now the last thing to do is to protect the grass seed from heavy rain and birds. There's two ways you can do it: topsoil normally, or compost. Now I use compost. This doesn't help with the level of the lawn because it rots away over time, whereas soil does, but I just think it's better for reseeding grass because it gives it that little boost of nutrients as well. So I'm going to use this nice fine compost, and I'm going to use this compost spreader just to roll out an even layer all over the grass to protect the seed, and then that's basically us done. Hopefully not too heavy a rain to wash away my seeds, but yeah. Now that we have all of the compost down, you can see how it's spread somewhat evenly over the whole garden. The purpose of this, as we might have said already, is to just protect the seed from birds and also to give it a sort of moist environment where it can continue to grow and germinate. Right, so that's the top dressing down on the back lawn. We're obviously going to repeat the same process in the front. That's that more or less finished now. Just hopefully there doesn't come any heavy rain, and you'll have to come back in a few weeks time to see what way it's growing, because we're actually doing this now at the start of April, so end of April, start of May, you'll be able to see what our garden's turned out like. So yeah, that's that finished. The next thing we're going to do is get some more veg and things planted, or potatoes and different other bits and bobs, so we'll see you in a few minutes when I finish the front lawn.
For the front lawn, we pretty much followed the same steps as the back lawn, so nothing really different. We started with mowing, and then we moved on to seeding and all the rest of the steps. Our front lawn gets significantly less sun because our home is a north-facing home, so that means that we get plenty of sun in our back garden, which is exactly what you want, but we don't get as much sun in the front of our house. So for most of the summer, I would say half of the lawn, just as you can see now, gets sun, and then as the day progresses it tends to get more and more sun, but overall it gets less sun, so that's something that would probably affect how the grass grows. But as James mentioned, we are trying a new grass seed, so hopefully it'll be more sturdy and hopefully it'll last the winters a little bit better, but overall our grass has been pretty good, I would say. I think we're going to make some sandwiches because we made a gammon yesterday. We had some visitors over, our friends from Dublin, and we cooked a Sunday dinner on Sunday, kind of like a roast, and we were going to do chicken with gammon, but then the gammon hadn't cooked enough, so we had to basically abandon it in the sense that it had to just stay in the slow cooker. And then in the evening we had some, and now we've got some left over, so I think we need to put it into Sambo's.
So here we have the master chef. She's making us a bit of a lunch. We've just decided to have a few sandwiches like she said. So here's my sandwich, It's nice cheese and gammon or ham sandwich with some mayo. So that'll be tasty.
And of course tea.
And some tea in our Mr. and Mrs. cups that someone got us for our wedding back a few years ago. So yeah, it says the date and all established 2022. So I've got these little seed tray module things here and started growing some seeds maybe like 2 weeks ago. And as you can see here, a lot more have come up in this tray. There's nothing really coming up in this tray yet. It's got a lot of onions in it. I think this is even like, there's cauliflower here somewhere. These are beetroot here, the ones with the red stems, they're all beetroot that I planted. These are peas, garden peas, and then these are, as far as I know, all going to be like lettuce and mixed salad leaves. Now the problem with doing them in the house was they got what they call a bit leggy, so they grew long stems because they weren't getting much light and they were sort of trying to find the light. And then, as I said, we're going to go outside now in a wee bit and get all of our potatoes planted. And take it from there. Some of you might remember that a few weeks ago in our other video I'd started off growing some cucumbers and tomato plants and some pepper plants. Peppers never came up because the seeds are really old, so they're probably just past their prime, but the tomatoes and the cucumbers have come on really well over the last couple of weeks. Here's a tomato plant, so it's growing really well. It's kind of grown a wee bit strange in terms of its shape, so I put a little stake there to sort of help it grow straighter. And then this is a cucumber plant. But these are just some plants that we're looking after for our neighbours when they're away on their holidays. So, and then in the spare bedroom, or the second spare bedroom, I have some more. So just again, cucumbers and tomatoes. This cucumber plant's a bit bigger. It's doing okay as well, but as you can see as well, it got hit with some very liquid. The other leaves are doing okay. There's some healthy leaves there too. And this is probably the bigger tomato plant. So I'll wait till maybe the end of this month, start of May, until it gets a bit warmer, till we're into the low teens every day, or maybe mid-teens in terms of degrees Celsius. And then I'll put them outside and they should be fine. There's no point putting them out now and risking maybe a frost and losing your plants that you've put so much time into. So yeah, just to keep you updated on what's going on with that if you're interested. So this year I'm going to plant carrots and parsnips in this main planter here, and lots of other vegetables. No potatoes in here this year because they completely overpowered everything else.
Flashback to last year, guys, June 2025, the potatoes completely took over the planter, so we knew from then on that it wasn't going to work to do potatoes. This is why we've planted our potatoes this year in the black basins.
The potatoes have just completely taken over this this big bed. You know, I didn't realize they would spread so much, so next year I'm definitely not going to plant the potatoes in this next year because they just take over the whole bed.
So back to this year, April 2026, we've definitely learned from our mistakes, and we've even started to label our little crops. So that's James putting in those little sticks there, and no potatoes this year because they do literally just take over every single inch of the planter.
Now we're going to start planting our potatoes. We've got a few things growing in the house as you've seen, but the main thing we want to grow is some potatoes and carrots and parsnips, things like that outdoors. So this is the first of the outdoor planting that's going to happen. So as you'll see behind me, I have 5 large builder's buckets. And what I did last year, if you've watched the videos, is I just drilled some holes in the bottom to let the water drain out, and then I've just filled them with soil and compost. So I can plant 2 potatoes in each of these. You could probably plant more, but I like to leave them plenty of space to grow.
First little ridges for our potatoes.
Well, I'm just making 2 holes about 6 to 8 inches deep. So I'll get some of these spuddy woodies in. Let's hope that they spread.
As always, thank you so much for joining us, guys, and thank you for joining us in our garden series. Do join us again next week when we'll be continuing our garden series, and we'll also do some garden furniture, and we have planned as well to do a garden tiered shelf for plant pots. So do join us again next week, and thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. See you next time.
Here we go. Pistachio cream.